Welcome back to the Anxiety Ridden Moms Club. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
You're
I'm
good.
excited for today because we've had a couple of really good episodes of some shows that you had me watch that I think are for great discussion. I'm
I'm
excited.
excited. Me too.
Uh-huh.
So, should we say spoiler alert
Yes.
or prepare people? S-
Yes.
So we'll set the scene. No, I was on a walk with my mom a couple weeks ago, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, have you seen The Crash on Netflix?" And I just don't know what to think, and just goes into it. And I think probably for the first time in my life, I was like, "What are you talking about?" Because normally I
And
pass
bringing
on
it to
shows.
her, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like a sibling will talk about it in a group, like the
Yeah.
family chat and be like, "Hey, what is everybody watching?" Whatever. But this time she was like, "What do you think?" And then, you know how the people in our phones listen to us because then shit started popping up
Yep.
on social media and I was like,
Yep.
"Okay, I have to watch it." So,
Yes.
today we're going to talk about a Netflix show called The Crash. Do you want to
Yes.
do you want to tell him what it's about?
It's about a crazy ass girl.
I
It's
think she was
about,
17.
yeah. She I don't even know. To me, I'm just so like, I don't even know what you would say about this show. To me, it's all about a toxic relationship. That's my personal opinion. It's about a toxic relationship that really turned horrible into a crash.
Into a crash.
Hmm.
So it's a 17-year-old girl. There's so many levels of like messed up to it though.
Yes.
So it's a 17-year-old girl who drives her car, like her and her boyfriend and a friend are at a party, couple of parties.
Now
And
they'll deny it's not really a party. It's more of like their typical sleepover that they regularly have. And first off, anybody who has not watched it, if you don't want to hear all about it, obviously stop now, go watch it, get back on. But so you don't ruin anything. But ultimately, it's that her friend had said it was just a sleepover. They do this all the time. It's just a smaller group of friends and they get together and they smoke pot and hang out and chill and nothing, overly exciting. Pretty much how
nothing
she
overly
put it.
exciting. So it was early in the morning, very early in the morning,
Mhm.
and she drives her car in like 90 miles an hour into the side of a brick building.
I think it was 97, almost 98 miles per hour.
98 miles per hour. I don't pay that close attention to the details.
It was
So
crazy.
so
And then you listen to it go whoosh, like this just flying by somebody's house and you hear it on the camera and then the big old crash. And that's where the whole debate comes in. That's where
and
the whole
that's where the
debate
whole
comes
debate comes in. Yeah.
in.
So a motorcycle is then passing by, and I think it's like an hour after the crash, and calls the police and notifies them. And the girl, and I feel like it's important to note too that Mackenzie, so her name is Mackenzie, Kinsey, um, was found like laying over like the passenger seat. And I obviously I don't know if that's a result of the crash or whatever, but then her
Yeah.
boyfriend, Dom, and their friend Damien, who was in the back seat, was actually towards the front of the car also. But Dom and Damien both passed away in the crash. And so Kinsey was then life flighted out to the hospital.
Mhm.
And the show picks up. I mean, this car is just absolutely freaking destroyed. I mean, 100 miles an hour into the side of
Yeah.
a
It's
brick building.
crazy. It's crazy. Right.
Absolutely
And
crazy that she
no
even
even hesitation, just straight into it.
straight, yeah, there were no hitting the brakes, nothing of the sort.
Mm-mm.
So it's, I guess, a miracle, if you will, that she survived at
Mhm.
all. But the two boys, and I think one was 19 and one was 20, but they both
Mhm.
passed away. And she was air flighted out. Um, and this whole thing was just it then picks up like of her mom and dad in the emergency room.
Mhm.
And the police are like, yeah, the people that were with her, yeah, they died, but like didn't like it was the most
It was very
awkward.
odd. Yeah, it was very odd. It was It was odd. And then when the mom was asking questions, they were kind of stern. I don't know. The whole conversation around even telling them the situation at hand at the hospital with the kids was strange. It was very strange.
It was so strange. So, from, I guess, everyone's perspective, like the community's perspective, like they were mourning the loss of 2 boys and like
Mhm.
rallying around Kinsey because, she was in this horrific car crash. She lost her boyfriend. And then more and more starts to come to light and they start questioning if this was an accident.
Mhm.
And so, Gina, you mentioned like part of like you feel like it was just a toxic
Mhm. I
relationship
think it was a toxic relationship all in all. I I feel like there was it it was just on both. I think that they fed off of the toxicity. I think a lot of people get in relationships like this, especially when you're young. I think you hear about it even more often, but, um, one minute they could be screaming at each other, but then the next minute you'll hear from their friends that they're the most loving, just so drawn to each other kind of couple, just so in love. And then you hear more about how they basically are cussing each other out on text messages, yelling and threatening each other in person, and then all of a sudden, again, it turns right back to, "Oh my god, I love you so much." It is full of toxicity.
for
And
sure.
they do put a lot of that blame on her, but I personally can tell you, in my personal opinion, it was a two-way street. I think they both brought their toxic behaviors to it, and maybe it's just that they're just that way together. It's just their dynamic together was that way, and I don't think that meant, and I don't mean that in a manner that they're bad people. I just think that you have two people who they just together have a toxic relationship.
For sure. So they friends start coming forward and showing like Life 360 and they start like putting some of the pieces of the puzzle together. They pull the quote unquote like black box out of the car and they find out that um she never hit the brakes.
Right.
Um and I kind of get some of my details confused because I started to go down a rabbit hole with this and things started showing up on social media after I
Mhm.
watched it.
Mhm.
Because when I got through the Netflix series, I was almost like dumbfounded. Like, what?
Mhm.
Like, so she gets arrested for murder.
Mhm.
She goes to jail.
Mhm.
And I was just like, "What?" Like, what is I don't feel like I didn't have this urge that like she's so freaking guilt like I had a lot of freaking questions, but I wasn't
Yeah.
like this was a
I
toxic relationship. She was guilty. Like this bitch is crazy. I was left
y
more with like this girl needs an institution.
yeah, I s okay, see, so for me, I don't feel like she int I'm really torn because since we don't have the 2 boys to speak, to say anything. I was very torn as to, was she truly with intent that her idea was, "I'm going to drive this fast and drive it right into this building." Like, was her total plan? Like, that's up for debate to some degree, obviously. But they do say that that somebody had shifted it into neutral and then went back into drive, and then the car was shifted again into neutral and then shifted back into drive, which would kind of tell you that there was some people saying, "Stop what you're doing, you crazy ass. You need to stop." And she was obviously trying to scare him. That's obvious. I mean, because they show her driving at a normal speed prior, and then all of a sudden she's going almost 98 miles an hour. So, and then somebody's shifting the gears back and forth, which just would make you assume that somebody she's not doing it. I mean, she can put her foot on the brake. So she's not shifting it into neutral. She might put it back in drive, but she's not shifting it into neutral. So I wondered because the relationship just seemed where it was very toxic, that I just wonder if it was more of a scare tactic than it was truly like, "Oh no, we're all gonna die today." Because one, the guy in the back is completely an innocent person and has nothing to do with the situation whatsoever. So it's just like, I don't know. It I really wish we had a situation where we knew what they were arguing about, or was there an argument and that's what led to this, which is kind of what you would assume with their history. But yeah, I don't I just can't I just sit and think like, did she wanna die that day too? Like, because otherwise, that would be the only way you would drive 98 miles an hour straight into a wall and think that I mean, you're just gonna walk away? I mean, I don't know.
So, in my deep dive, I feel like Netflix, and even at the end, they interview her.
Mhm,
But in my deep dive of this situation, there are actually 2 other documentaries on this very same crash.
okay,
One is on, or they're both actually on Hulu. One is Hulu Investigation Discovery, and it's called Mean Girl Murders,
mhm,
and it's season 2, episode 7. So season 2, episode 7 of Mean Girl Murders on Hulu. And then there's another one on Hulu called Killer Cases, and it's
okay.
season 4, episode 12. So I watched both of these, and I feel like she definitely got a different edit in those. So more things
Okay.
came to light. Like she had driven this path before, and this wasn't a path that like it was off route. And that night you can tell like they're driving, going home or whatever. And she specifically turns like on this industrial park, this industrial drive that she's drove the route before.
For
Oh,
what purpose? To lead to something?
right? No.
Okay.
So
So for
planning,
some unknown reason, she's driving
intention,
this. Yes. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Um, and they also, and that's where I get them all confused. Like I don't know which is included in what, but like that he part of their arguments before is that she was going to crash the car. There were previous
Mhm,
times where he had called his mom, pulled over on the side of the road because she was grabbing the driving, like she was grabbing the steering wheel, or
mhm,
she had made other threats about um, crashing the car.
mhm,
And so the others, I feel like they definitely started to build on the intent side of it. Like where she was like planning this out and this was something that she had talked about before. Like if you're not going to be with me, you're not going to be with anyone
mhm.
else.
Which
And they
they did
definitely
say on the Netflix one that she kind of was like that there had been some of that. Because even remember there's at one point there's a text message where she said that he did that to her, was grabbing the steering wheel and was causing troubles too.
it's just chaos.
Yes, it's just
And
chaos. And I mean, honestly, like even if let me know, I guess I just look like this. If your son was in a relationship and was calling you about this girl he's with, why would you keep getting in a car with her? Like, wouldn't you be sitting there saying, hello, there's big problems here. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
uh-huh.
that's why I just say, I think it was toxic on both ends to some degree. She may be much more of the aggressor, but why would you continue to be with a girl who's constantly wanting to tell you she's going to bring the car off the road?
Well, and let's like talk about the parents for a second because she's 17, Dom was 20. She lived with him. She was
Yeah, I
still
have a
in high
serious issue
school.
with that because she was so mature. That's what
Uh-huh.
they talked about. She was
Uh-huh.
just like such a great kid and so mature. And I'm like, no 17-year-old should be doing that. And then I also thought, Dom has an awful lot of money.
He was
You
stealing
didn't question
drugs.
right, you don't question that as a parent. I want my 17-year-old daughter to live with
Yeah, they
this kid
talked
who
about
has
her
all
Prada,
this. Yeah,
her
and that
Prada
was a big
slippers
thing
and
why
her
she wanted to be with him. I mean, that's pretty obvious. She liked being with him because he has this money, but then it made me really have a bad taste in my mouth for the parents because 'cause I'm like, "There is no way in hell." First off, my daughter is 17, it's like her going now to go live with some guy, like, no, you're a 17-year-old kid. But on top of it, if this guy makes all this money, and I know these people are not so stupid to not know where he's getting it from. So at the end of the day, that should be a huge concern that that's
well,
where
her
your
dad
daughter's
was
living.
definitely a hippie because he was like, well,
Yes. Yeah.
everybody smokes pot, whatever. She
Yeah.
had mushrooms, like she had shrooms on her, but they didn't find them like in her blood. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, the TikToks that she made and different things, like she clearly drove high all the time. So,
Mhm.
and that was the only thing. I think they found like THC in her
Mhm.
system. I think that it's heartbreaking that the car shifted into neutral, and then I think they were trying to stop her.
Mhm. Yes.
And I think that's why they probably had their seatbelts off because the boys, both of them, had their seatbelts on. She apparently never wore her seatbelt, but she did that day, or she was that night.
But the only thing is when so my husband and I talked about that because I was like, I said something about that she never wore it before, but he's like, but in some of the stuff they showed, she was wearing it. So I
So
don't know if
probably
she,
just
so
speculation.
yeah. Yeah.
What I so and then and then it's so at some point in time, it comes out that she has POTS, which
Yeah.
can make you pass out randomly.
Mhm. Okay,
Um,
but why in the heck where was the physician to get on there to say she's been struggling with it, she has medication for it to prove that theory, and if you notice, they had nobody come up to say
there was no defense.
anything, none,
I felt
none.
after the Netflix, she had 0 defense. Like,
Mhm.
that attorney did not defend her.
No, he said they don't have anything, so I think he thought, "They don't have anything, so I don't need to do anything."
They would and that's where I go back to at the end of the Netflix series, I was like, what the fuck just happened?"
Yeah.
Because she didn't have any sort of like,
Uh-uh.
you've seen murder shows where murderers get off
Mhm.
because their defenses are and they were just like,
Yeah, exactly.
"She's she's good." Like, but when she was talking to her mom on the phone, she was talking in Pig Latin. Did you see that?
I
I don't
don't
know if
think I
that was on the
remember.
Netflix one, I'm telling you, I'm
I was
getting
to
them
say, I
mixed up.
don't think I remember seeing that.
Yeah, they have a whole phone call about, "Can't we just tell him I passed out or something?" And she's talking to her mom in Pig Latin. It was so freaking bizarre. Like, this chick had issues, but at no time, back to the defense, like, whether it was POTS, whether it was crazy,
It's crazy.
say insanity, plead insane. They didn't
Yes.
do anything.
They didn't try it all for her. I mean, I think that he just felt like they didn't have anything, but I don't know how he figured they didn't have anything. I mean, they have way too much. And Dom had all that stuff, even that he recorded her, like when she was acting crazy when she was came to his house. And so I mean, it was very obvious they had a volatile relationship. That's very, very obvious. Now, sometimes I take that with a grain of salt. Anybody could be in a relationship, something could get just emotions run high in relationships in general. So it could have been a one-off day, right? That he decided to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch her acting nuts," because I don't think that that shows that that was all the time. But then it's like every so often though, they'd have a new thing. So you're like, yeah, that's kind of a pattern. Like, it's not just like that
But she also
one
is a
off. I was,
17-year-old,
yeah,
she's a
she's a right,
17-year-old
which is
girl,
why some of it
so
I just kind of blew off too. She is just a 17-year-old girl, and it's a serious relationship. This guy has a lot of money that she's enjoying. There's a lot of things that draw her to it. Takes way too many drugs because that affects her brain drastically on top of it. So, I mean, like, as a whole, she's had a lot of problems, and she did not have family that was parenting her, which was not helping
clearly.
any. And my thing is that, like, I'm not into, like, I don't think that as a mom, I can just sit and say, "You will do this or else," and blah, blah, and think that that all pans out. So it's not that I think that they should have just been crazy, lock her in the basement kinda thing, but you could tell they taught her probably nothing while she was growing up. Like, they were way too loosey-goosey parents, and you could tell that they were not respected. And that judge, ooh, when that mom got up and spoke, and she
Oh,
was
so
like,
bad.
"Oh," that judge was like, she could tell this kid's not been parented, and that has a lot to do with it too. And then, so like, I think if you have like an emotional issue, some sort of mental situation that that girl was dealing with, and the parents that aren't monitoring, helping, nothing. I mean, I think the mom should have probably never gone up there and spoke because what she said was kinda stupid. It was just kinda stupid. I'm like, "You just proved that you're an idiot."
Yeah, the judge literally said, "We're hearing a lot about your daughter and nothing about the victims."
Yeah, and then
But
she
I
wanted to say something
also
like, I really didn't know," what was the friend's name again? It was Dom and
Damien.
Damien, okay. I really didn't know him. I mean, he's only around for, like, 2 weeks or something, and she's like, like, that means,
So
like, that
his
his
life
life
doesn't
is,
matter.
yeah, it's like, if anything, for him, and I mean, they're both tragedies, don't get me wrong, but that is honestly such a horrific tragedy that your son was killed because 2 people have this relationship, and he has nothing to do with any of it. He's just a new friend in the group, and just it's exactly what I've talked about before, though. My dad says, not my dad, my husband says, "One one wrong decision can affect so many other people's lives, not just your own." And that is like a prime example of like why you have to pay attention to who you're around and what's going on. And you don't get into people's cars. I don't, and especially not when there's 2 people that can't get along very well and let people get behind the wheel.
At
Obviously, she wasn't on
5
drugs, and that
something in the
doesn't matter.
morning. Yeah, at 5
Yeah,
something in the morning when, yeah,
yeah,
you've been out all night, and
yes,
absolutely bizarre. The most
yes.
bizarre. I also, like, w I don't understand the thinking behind the judge versus the jury, like, making that decision. I don't
I
know who
didn't
this
really
defense
understand that
was.
either.
They should have called me for a consultation
Right.
because I would have had a better job keeping this chick out of jail than whether she's
Yes,
guilty or not, I can't speak
yes,
on, but, like, what I can speak on is she had no defense team.
yes.
N me I don't know.
Now, the only thing I didn't understand, though, is that the judge said it's 15 years to life, but I expect you to be in there for life.
She's did 15 years, but they could basically at the same time. So, like, she got 15 years to life for each of
For
them,
each
but
one, right, which
they
was then if you
happened
do the minimum of the 15 years for both would put you at 30 years.
they ran concurrently. Is that the right word?
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
And
Okay.
one of the interviews, they talked about how the family was, like, disappointed in that, and because she's
Mhm.
up for parole, like,
Yeah,
10 years or something.
yes.
Um,
And that's why the judge said, I expect to see that you'll be in jail for the rest of your life. She doesn't see
people
her
were
ever
post
getting out.
people were posting, pictures of her jail, which looks like a freaking high school.
It
There's
does?
couches and TVs and, like,
What?
it's just insane. But, like, I don't know. But you gotta watch it because this whole thing is just bizarre. We wanna know your thoughts if you think she needs an
Yes.
institution or in
Yes.
jail.
I can tell you that
Um,
my daughter, who is 17, said she did it, and that's crazy. So she just right away is like, "That's it. She did it, and she's crazy." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's I mean, no matter what, at the very end, like I said, I don't know." And maybe see, I didn't see the other shows, so at the end of the day, I did not know, like, she's driven that route and kinda planned something, but it just makes you I mean, I don't know, I still think she got pretty beat up through that whole situation. I mean, she's got a mental problem to want to go through all of that, for sure.
I think that she's absolutely guilty. I think that she set out to do it. She showed no remorse.
No, she
She
never saw
was
mm-mm,
at a Halloween party, like,
mhm,
months after the accident and
mhm,
dressed as a skeleton, like,
mhm.
no
Now
remorse.
now I will say that whatever I don't even it's a group or something. My daughter said that doesn't matter what she was wearing too, just like how they kinda said she's like, "Who cares what she was wearing? That has nothing to do with anything." Which I do kinda agree. I'm not really hung up on the fact of the costume that she wore, I don't even care what she put on. She could have dressed in anything, but I think that my problem with it was the fact she looked like she's having a pretty good time after
Oh, out
only
partying
3
with 0
months.
regrets.
Yes, you completely look like you're having the greatest time of your life 3
I
months
think she
after the
went to, like, a
fact.
concert in her
Yeah, like,
wheelchair,
that's
like,
my problem. I could care less that she's dressed in a costume of any sort. My thought is, you have nerve, and your parents are seriously, they need to go to a psychiatrist while they're at it.
maybe they're the ones who need to be in jail and she can go to the psychiatrist.
Right.
That was and at the end of the day, like I said, she's definitely guilty. In my opinion, she's definitely
Yes, she
guilty.
is
She did
guilty.
it, but,
Yes.
like, she's crazy,
Yes, she's
and
crazy.
she needs
Yes.
some mental help,
Yes, and
some
so do her
mental guidance,
parents. And
and
her
so do
mom
her
says,
parents.
oh, she's gonna take it to the Supreme Court, and that's what she has to do to get her out. So, I mean, they're
Her
gonna live
mom
their
didn't even post bail,
yeah,
okay?
well, that's the whole thing is I'm like, I mean, I don't know how she thinks she's gonna make all this happen, but I also think I don't see you got her an attorney that did nothing.
Maybe it was a public defender. I didn't look. Maybe
I
it was
didn't
just
look
a
either
maybe they couldn't afford and it was just a public defender but they still have an obligation, right? As your lawyer.
to
It
try,
was
to at least try. I
to do
mean, to
something.
do something. But he did nothing. He said nothing. It was crazy.
It was
Yeah.
crazy. And back to the judge versus the jury thing, like, he could have this is such a bizarre case that I feel like you would have a better chance of convincing some jurors that you're not guilt you know what I mean,
Mhm,
versus one judge. Like, she's gonna
mhm.
see it the way she sees it, and,
Yes.
that's the end of the
Yeah, I thought
story,
that
but
was
I feel
very,
like
very strange.
you could definitely have persuaded some jurors and,
Mhm.
get a hung jury, whatever
At
it
least
is,
try.
because
Yeah,
it
get
was
some sort
such a
of
bizarre
mistrial
there
or something.
because at the end of the day, you can say all of these things stacked up or all the proof still wasn't a lot of proof. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like,
right.
They have proof she didn't tap the brakes. They have proof that she ran the route. But,
Mhm.
like, that's it. Everything else is circumstantial. And
Mhm.
so, yeah,
Yeah, because
man,
there's
I
still
really
no
should have
matter
been a
what,
lawyer.
there's still a lot of questions. There's still a lot of questions, for sure. But anyone who hasn't watched it needs
I
to
could have
watch
been the
it.
Lincoln lawyer.
Yeah.
I should have went to law school. My brother went to law school, but he does, like, lame law.
Yeah.
He does, like, acquisitions and shit. I wanna be
Yeah.
murder
Yeah.
people. No, because then I could free a murderer. I don't know. There's just the moral of the story is I could have done a better job as her
Yeah,
attorney.
yeah, I think, yeah, it was
Not saying
horrible.
she didn't end up where she belongs.
She did, that's the thing, and you never know. Maybe, I don't know.
And wasn't it the end of the Netflix where she, like, looks at I don't know if it's a producer or someone, she's like, "Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Did I say that so they'll understand me? Did I say that so I don't sound fucking crazy?" And you're like, "Oh
Yeah.
my
No, you
god."
still sound nuts.
But again,
Yeah,
like, at
she
what
tried to
point
act like she was normal, and I was like, "You're like a whole new person." Like, a whole new person came out.
Yeah, yeah, she didn't testify or anything because she didn't remember. That was her defense,
Yeah.
is just that she didn't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a terrible, terrible
Terrible
defense.
defense. Yeah. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how my foot just stomped on the gas. I don't know.
No.
It's horrible. It's a horrible story, though.
Yes.
Truly
So
tragic.
we're gonna share on social media, some of the additional evidence that I've uncovered.
Yeah.
And again, Netflix The Crash, and then we've got Mean Girl Murders season 2, episode 7, and then Killer Cases season 4, episode 12. So check some of these out and get back to us and let us know
Your
your
thoughts.
thoughts.
Yeah. I would love to hear
Maybe
about it.
we'll do a poll, mental institute
Yes.
versus jail.
Right.
Because
Yes.
but she's somewhere at least for a few more years.
Yeah, where she belongs for sure,
And
at least for a while.
hopefully she gets the help that she needs.
Yes. I hope she does too.
So my movie review this week,
Mhm.
um, Mandalorian and Grogu.
Grogu.
Grogu. Mandalorian and Grogu. And it is a Star Wars movie.
Oh,
And if
Lord.
you know anything about me, I have never wanted to or have I seen a Star Wars movie. But I did it for my other half.
Mm,
Me and Nora both did it, and I did it
and
for the popcorn, and she did it for the Mandalorian because she thinks he's hot. Um, we did it. It was fine. I
it
gave a
was fun.
7. It is what it is. I did it because I am a good
Yeah.
girlfriend, and that's what we do, and it was his turn, so he got to pick. I'm glad it's over.
Right.
I'm
Hopefully, it's a
sure there are
several turns before he gets his again.
yeah, I get a couple of turns, Nora gets a couple of turns, and then
And then
whatever.
maybe he can get one again.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk about it because if you are a Star Wars person, a lot of, people that I
Okay, so
work
wait,
with,
did he like it? What did he think of it? Do you think it was a good episode or a good show?
he actually rated it Nora and I rated 7.5, and he agreed with a 7.5.
Oh.
So,
So
I
it's a
don't think it
movie to
was
watch if you like Star Wars, but don't get too excited.
don't get too excited, it's not the best that there's ever been.
Yeah. Okay.
Grogu's adorable, and I would take one, but, like, that's it. I was there for the
Yeah.
popcorn and the
Yeah.
Jolly Rancher gummies. It's my 2 favorite things in the whole wide world right now. So that's my movie review this week. But then we have another talk show to talk about.
Mhm.
Um, and again, if you want to pause and go watch and come back, but this one is also on Hulu and it's called The Nightmare Upstairs.
Mhm.
What happened to Ty and Bryn. So Gina and I mentioned that we wanna have a couple of lighthearted episodes, a little more fun episodes, a little of our movie reviews and TV show reviews, and just
Yes.
something to take our mind off of the anxiety and the hustle and the bustle. And it's
Mhm.
summertime, and our birthdays were last weekend, and
Mhm.
we just want to share some of the stuff we enjoy and just talk about.
Other
Yeah,
things that you guys can look into that are entertainment for the family or for you, or sometimes I think even just as a mom, it's like the oh, what is it? Snapped. All women like all those kind of different things. And that's what kind of like I think all this stuff kind of goes along. But this particular show I liked better than The Crash
You
because
did.
I
You
did. I liked
did.
it better than The Crash because I feel like it was uh, I think it's actually extremely sad, first off, because I think it is that the mom in this particular show s- really needs some help from her past. So I think it's very sad, but I actually liked it better than The Crash, and my heart broke for the dad,
For the
and
dad.
really for the whole family. It does because I think it's a lot of I think it's sad. I think it's sad all around for everybody. I don't think there's anybody who won out on anything, but though their mom, I think for sure is the reason that this all happened, and it just
Yes. So,
makes me sad.
the nightmare upstairs, what happened to Ty and Bryn, and basically, I don't even know how old these kids were, I don't know, but Bryn
I think
suppo
I think she was 7 when it all started. She was 7 when she talked about some sort of like her doll or whatever, and she put some sort of cream on the doll. She was 7 years old when that happened.
7 years old.
Mhm.
So, according to the dad, so this is, a divorced mom and dad, 2 kids, and according to the well, I don't even know where to start, but she has this doll and she was putting some cream on its private parts. And according to dad, the only cream that he's ever put on these parts was Destin. And that's because when they were at their mom's, they didn't get bathed real well.
Uh-huh.
And she had quote unquote like hot butt. So an irritated butt. And so they would put
Which
Destin cream.
I personally have never heard that term, and it was used
I
way
had
too
never
many
heard it
times for
either.
me when it was
It was over and
it
over
was
and over
over and over
again.
and over
She
said.
had hot
She
butt.
had hot butt.
She had hot
Said
butt.
too many times for me, but anyway,
Yes. But
yes.
anyway, he just said that it was that was the problem and that they put Destin cream
Mhm.
on it and blah 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 blah. And then Bryn was putting it on her doll and her mom started asking questions. And then it came out and the dad was investigated then for sexual assault
Mhm.
of the daughter. And then the son irritated the piss out of me the whole
Oh, yeah.
time. It was
Yes.
and then
But
it was supposedly the son too. So
but
we
I hear
watched this whole show and it's literally this mom and dad and 2 kids. And at the end of it, I felt kind of gross for not believing the kids.
okay, it's me too a little bit. I did too because I feel like it's such a sexual abuse obviously is serious, should be taken seriously, and it's disgusting. But I do believe 100% that the mom had things happen to her when she was young that was never dealt with. So in turn, she ended up kind of creating this issue. And I feel like that the daughter always wanted to go see her dad. So, and also it was even stated that the daughter said she had hot butt and she would go to her dad and ask him to put the cream on. So if he was doing something to sexually assault her, it's not usually that it's the child's idea to keep
Right.
asking him to do that, which is what to me, right off the bat, struck me as odd. It would be the dad going to her saying, "Honey, I just need to put this cream on you. This is why you have these problems." You know what I'm saying? He would have been the one explaining to her why it needs to be done and
And
coaxing her into
instigating it.
something. And that's not at all what was said. And then when it came to the son went on, it took some years before he finally, and I think he just went into protective mode over his sister. And then he started seeing that therapist, JP, whom was a completely inappropriate type of relationship with the family. So, I mean, he was coming over, um, was a part of, had his own biker group and you could tell even that kid's face just lit up, like, he just thought that was the coolest thing, and I can understand that. He was, like, I think 13, maybe 14. You're 13, 14 years old, and this, like, biker group comes to your house, and they're, like, super cool to you, make you feel almost like a part of their group, and then he's the one sitting there talking to him about like, he thinks he's got memories that he doesn't remember, and then he's like, "I had nightmares, and these nightmares about my dad." Well, if you think about it, all this stuff going on around him from his sister saying something and his mom making an issue out of it, it puts things in your head. I mean, lots of dreams we have don't always make sense to why we're even dreaming it, and it could have been a movie we watched that all of a sudden
Anything.
created us to have this nightmare, you know what I mean? And so I just think there was so much discussion around their dad. I think it's what did it. And then he was convinced, and JP convinced him even more that he has more memories that are going to come out of this and that for sure, like it's real. And I just think it was horrible. And then even the courts were like, that is not how that should be. And the daughter still wanted to go see her dad. And it was the boy that was getting to become to where he was adamant he's not. And then after all this goes on, and then they wanted to hold protest by sitting in their room and shutting the door and doing all this stuff to do a protest, but he's gonna get on TikTok and how many followers can he get? And then the mom decides she's gonna get on TikTok and somebody she's such an introvert. She would just never do
So annoying.
anything.
She was so annoying.
She's
She annoyed the
such
hell
an
out of me.
introvert. And the next thing you know, she's got like all this makeup on and she's like trying to be all cute on TikTok. It's kind of like, okay, lady. Like you kind of have some serious issues. And then the son I think felt responsible for her too because he'd say, "Well, my mom's never worked." You know, like I think he just felt such a responsibility. But in the end, the kid ditched the whole family to begin with. It was weird. I feel
It
sorry for him because
was
I think he's gonna it will cause him troubles for the rest of his life too.
for sure. I mean, it was the DA didn't find enough evidence at all to charge the dad. Then they
Hmm.
ordered visitation, and that's when the son absolutely refused. And they end up barricading themselves in the room.
Okay.
And she gets them a microwave outside of their room. Like, no, you're gonna starve until you come out of your
Yes.
room, you crazy freaking people.
Kids.
Like, I'm
Yes.
sorry, my kids are not going to barricade themselves in a room. I will get in that motherfucking room if it's the last thing I do.
Yes.
And then it all becomes for their TikTok and their viewers and different
Hmm.
things. And like
Hmm.
that's where you just left scratching your head, like, what in the like
Is
what is
going
wrong
on.
with these
Yes.
people?
It was just getting worse and worse. And her whole thing of she played too much of the innocent. She played like
Oh
she's so
yeah.
innocent. Like she just drove me nuts. Everything came out of her mouth drove me nuts. And I'm like you. But then sometimes I'd be like, whatever really is happening, you feel bad. But then I'm starting thinking, I just don't believe it happened. I don't believe the daughter right off the bat when that daughter was the one instigating the whole thing. That is not. I don't believe it all. And at the very end, when the father even they finally did have him get on screen and he was like had tears fill up his you could just tell that man is broken. And I
And
also think and he was married a second time. And
that whole thing threw me
that thing kinda
off.
threw me off too. But his second wife never once said she had ever seen anything or ever felt that he would do anything like that to any of those kids or
No,
to
she
her
just
own
said
children.
that he coached her on how to
Uh,
answer,
yes.
which I think she was special, so he needed to.
Yeah, well,
But
that's what I think too, and I think he was scared, and he did a polygraph that was 99% he's telling the truth, which is pretty darn good. I don't know how that didn't play into anything to save him. I mean, not even as something to talk about, well, he was, shady here or there. Like, a lot of times you know what I mean? You'll hear like, "Well, there's kinda some questions on a few things," but otherwise, he pretty much was telling the truth. I mean, that guy was telling the truth, and I just think I'm like you. I think his second wife is just not the brightest tool in the shed. So he decided he better say, "You need to make sure that you're backing me because I'm right now." He was getting backed up against a wall.
yeah,
So I
and I'm not
mean,
saying that he wasn't controlling or he wasn't those
yeah,
things, but I
yep,
don't think that he handled the kids inappropriately at
nope,
all.
nope,
And he ended up signing his rights away
yep.
because, which I don't know,
Which I
as
would have done too,
you would have.
in a heartbeat. Yes, I would. Yeah, I would.
Really? Because I don't
Yes.
know what it would take to get me to sign my rights away. I really don't. But I know, I mean, I'm not judging him for it. He was
I don't
tired.
judge him at all for it. He's going in majorly just spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. And every time he sees these kids, they're in tears and they're upset and they're distraught. It's like his presence is bringing them pain. At some point, I would just be like, this is just, the courts weren't like doing enough to help to say that he had to see that, that the kids needed to see him or to fight for him enough. And in some ways, I mean, really, do you want your kids, like even when the kid said, I'm barricading because we're not going to be drug out screaming by police and stuff. And really, do you want that happening to your kids? I mean, you know that what's going on is wrong at their house and what their mom is telling them is so wrong, but you're kind of put in a weird situation. And I think at some point I would have done the exact same thing as him. I would have just said, I can't have my kids come to supervised visits where like literally I'm causing them pain really bad. I'm showing up. It's not ever it wasn't improving. It wasn't getting better, and unfortunately, the son started becoming the one in charge and driving it, and then I think he was done. But, I mean, you're gonna lose by then, that kid's never gonna if he does, then you can pray I would pray on it on a regular basis and hope that he gets some help himself, and maybe someday that he can see that I didn't do anything, but he then, if you noticed, his next therapist knew JP. So he's just gonna stay within that group of people anyway, so he's never gonna see the truth or cut his day. It's like, so what are you fighting for? If you think
Yeah,
about it.
I guess that's true. I just leaving my kids in a toxic environment with some crazy bitch that's like brainwashing them. But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean the money you spend and being your character assassinated and different things. My heart broke for him.
Mhm. Mine
But
too.
then at the end, I literally was like questioning myself because I'm like, do
Yeah,
I
one of
have
those kids were. Yeah,
like to not
it's
believe a
horrible.
kid? You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
that's so this world, man.
I know, it's crazy. It's so crazy.
You
But
have
yeah,
to be
I actually really like that one better, just because I felt like there was so much more of an emotional, like, tug of war a little bit, and,
not the last one. That bitch was crazy and she was guilty. No.
yeah, that one was definitely you're like, she got what she deserved. But this
Oh,
one was
yeah.
more like he didn't get what he deserved. That wasn't right, and my heart breaks for the whole family in the end. And those kids, I think, they will have some trauma for something that was caused by their mom.
And I bet
And
this happens all the time. I
yes,
bet it happens all the freaking
yes.
time.
And then I honestly thought it was really ignorant that then after all this was done and he walked away and he signed over his rights, that she couldn't wait to go fast enough to have her new husband adopt those kids. Like, seriously, like, that just even to
'Cause at
me,
that point, they were old, like
there wasn't a lot of reason to do that. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't care if as time went on, they decided they wanted to, align with him, and I could see them doing that, and that's fine. But it was in poor taste as to when it was done. That's just my opinion. You couldn't have waited, like, you couldn't go fast enough to get over there to have that done. Like, it was distasteful, which just told me a lot of even more about how nuts she is. And her little innocent shit I just wanna smack her.
and you're right, I didn't think about her
'Cause
background or what she'd been through and different I just
yeah.
was
So I think she really does need some therapy of her own, and I feel bad for her because I do think that I don't think she intentionally necessarily was saying, I hope that this happens to my kids so I can, like, make a thing about it." I just think she had a situation of something stupid that I think the kid was doing something that was just kind of normal, whatever. And I think she turned it into something. And in some degree, I understand why she would. I mean, if you've had things happen to you, you're going to be super hypersensitive, anyways. And she obviously didn't get any therapy really that she needed for that. So, I mean, that one lady that was on there that people went after her. I can't think of her name now. She was had to do with the courts and stuff too, I think. Remember they interviewed her quite a bit towards the end. She was like a counselor and stuff, and she took a lot of heat for it, but she described absolutely to a T what happens to people who don't get the treatment that they need, and then how that turns into their kids. And then how, like, even that they have everybody else to speak for them, so that those people are the ones standing up and speaking, and she gets to stay in the background and keep quiet and be protected by everybody, and it was so, like, just classic. Everything she said was just so perfect, it's, like, so sad. So, yeah, I did really enjoy that one. That's one I think for sure they need to watch both of them, but I enjoy this one way more.
and I just went down the rabbit hole of The Crash so much more, so that one's my vote, but yeah, just check them out. I know it's summertime and a lot of the TV shows are probably on break or going on
Mhm.
break, and if you need
Yep.
something to watch, just check these out, and we wanna hear from you, we wanna know your thoughts, we wanna
Mhm.
know what, you want us to talk about.
Yes.
We'll continue to weave in some of these more lighthearted episodes and,
Yep.
um
Or if you even know of any shows that we need to watch so we can talk about too, let us know. If there's something good out there that you've seen, I'll jump on there and watch it.
Yeah, we're not turning
Yeah.
into a true crime
No.
podcast, but
No.
we're
We're
gonna
talking about
when we
just
watch something
random
good.
stuff. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
random whatever. If it was good, if it was funny, if it was serious, or if it was crazy, whatever it is. I love true crime, but there's plenty of that in this world.
For sure. For sure. Well, thanks for coming along this ride with us,
Yep.
and we will talk to you soon.
Yep, definitely. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to add for us so that we can do some more of these.
Have a good week.
See ya.